Well, I think I'm finally getting through them. Yesterday, some girl came in Dollar General and said nobody finds any of this funny. We realized that they lied, that they made up a case to watch you before. Well, they admitted to it. June of 19, Liberty House Yard, the main officer that went to Dave in front of the North Canton Jackson police, they were on the phone and made the mistake. Okay, in front of them. Made up a case to watch her before. That's funny. You did what to her before? That's funny. She must really like him. It's fraud. What they're doing and what they have is fraud. It's fraudulent. It's a fraud case. It's fraudulent. Okay? So they can look at me and tell me we photoshopped a shower scene. Where you had bruises. We had sodium pentothal reports. Well, it's really ecstasy. We date raped you where you had bruises. We told you to say all these crazy stuff and you didn't talk to anybody, and we're going to put you in jail. We're going to extort money. That's crazy shit. It is crazy shit. It's fraud. It's conspiracy to commit extortion, conspiracy to for obstruction to justice, conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder. I was talking to my one friend that used to work for the prosecutor's office. I told him about my one grandson that my ex-husband had bragged to him right where it started. To enjoy grandma now, you won't have her after Christmas. He looked at me and said, Karen, that's conspiracy. It's conspiracy to commit murder. He had a plan. Right? He said he can go to jail for that. You know, he said that is, or he didn't say that he can go to jail for that, but he said it is conspiracy. It's conspiracy to commit murder. Okay? Had a plan. See, he wasn't the only one that he told that to. He told that to my grandson. Well, my grandson was so upset, he curled up on my lap in a mall. And he's looking at him saying, you better enjoy grandma now, you won't have her after Christmas. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, nowhere. He's like, I mean it, you better enjoy her. You won't have her around. She's not going to be here anymore. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, nowhere. He's looking at me like seeing himself. He's like, I mean it, she's not going to be here anymore. And he's getting so upset, he's curling up in a ball crying on my lap. And I'm like, cut it out. It's not funny. And that little boy's crying. And I'm like, stop it, Dave. And that little boy's crying like a baby. And he's like, I mean it. You better enjoy her now. She's not going to be around. You're not going to have her anymore. Okay? And he scares that little boy until he's crying. And he's like, she's not going to be here anymore. And you're not going to have her. You better enjoy her now because she's not going to be here anymore. Okay? Well, I call my mother. And I get her talking to her. And she's trying to calm him down. Well, my one ex-friend, Terry, I called her. She tried to calm him down. I went and seen her yesterday. She and I was talking to her about different things. While the police are driving by in mask. Okay? And she's like, I remember when he told Daniel that. And you called me. And he was so upset he couldn't calm down. And I said, remember the attempt to break in? She said, yeah. You had told me that he told that Perry police officer, and the officer said why they didn't go up through an upstairs window. And why would they go through the basement? They knew where the security system was. I said, you know, that officer documented that he thought he was part of that attempt to break him. Because why wouldn't they? Because they knew where the security system was. He documented that he was a main subject. Okay? All right. Yeah. These people with a mission to fraudulent paperwork to be in my home. Policing agencies can only be in a home on a documented threat of life case. It has to be documented through the state protected life case, recorded in the state with your voice recording of asking for help, agreeing to protect you, and the other person stating of a knowing of a threat in your life. So Fourth Amendment, right to privacy. Shoot, you can put the Fifth Amendment, right to remain silent. Sixth, right to a legal representation. Seventh, right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond. Eighth Amendment, with all this, the right to not be mistreated. Okay? You can't be in somebody's home. It's private property. To even Fourth Amendment, people's places and homes will be safe and secure. No searches or seizures will be warranted without probable cause, warranted with an oath or affirmation. That's your Miranda rights. They can't even come in and do a search warrant without giving you your Miranda rights. To actually watch you, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. They have to speak to each person in that home before initiating, or it is abuse and misconduct, and failure to protect is abuse and misconduct goes into the right of privacy, legal search and seizure, Department of Justice. So where they're saying they made up a case is fraudulent. It's fraud. It's conspiracy to commit extortion, conspiracy to cover a premeditated murder. And conspiracy for obstruction to justice for personal gain. Police cannot just break in private property and start stalking a victim for a retired judge's daughter. They can't just break in their home within a few days of them moving outside of a town because he met a judge's daughter that they couldn't marry off. And you know what? He is manipulating them. Some guy said that last year. He's manipulating all of them. They don't realize it. Dave had this one girl, Katie. She's real heavy, and she cheats with my brother-in-law, Tim. She cheated him with for 20 years. She had told people that he wanted her. Well, he doesn't like heavy girls, okay? He said, I'd rather kiss a cow's butt than that Hitler, okay? That one girl that showed up within 2 weeks and said she was sleeping with Dave. She's 5'7", 5'10". She's 300 to 350 pounds and sloppy. It's like, I'm too busy for whores. Okay? And she showed up all these different times. All right? And people are walking around. She's too ugly for another man. And at first I thought they were talking about me. And I'm like, shut up, I ain't that ugly. And then they're like, we have to do it. No other man will want her. I'm like, shut up, I ain't that ugly. Because I get real subconscious because I don't think I'm pretty. And then it's like, it's her. They did it because they didn't think anybody else would want her. Yeah, and then they start lying that she's so beautiful and all this other stuff. So I wouldn't realize it was her. And then she kept showing up and saying stuff. It was her. The fat, ugly girl. You don't like fat, ugly girls. She's fatter than Katie, and she's uglier. He's only manipulating them to get what he wants. Do you realize a sitting judge finds out the local cops are helping a retired judge, breaking in private property, stalking them to extort money? He'll put them in jail. That they're photoshopping them and date rape drugging them on their own, he'll put them in jail. I went up to the Portage County. Okay, I had emailed the chief of police of Ravenna. He called me. None of our police find any of this funny. It had been the Portage County Sheriff's doing it too. So I went up to the Portage County Sheriff's, talked to him. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. And they have to speak to everyone before they start. It's the Fourth Amendment, or you can never look or listen. Yes. Denied all knowledge of these people. So is there, where they yell tape before, is there a tape before admissible? Do they think the local cops are stupid? Like Officer Reinhardt in Louisville, we could never look or listen. It's illegal to be in somebody's home no matter what. Now some police After everything they did, nothing's admissible. Like the 2 retired sheriffs, how stupid are these people? It is a special protected life cases only. Police can't just break in private property. President Nixon bugged an office, and he got impeached. It was just an office. Almost went to jail for it. He got impeached. He almost went to jail for it. It was just an office. You have a right to privacy. You have a right to remain quiet, right to a legal representation, a right to a fair court trial, bail and bond. You also have a right not to be mistreated. So where they run around saying no man can help her, and we can mistreat her, they do it because they want to mistreat me and think people can have to stay out of it. They don't have to stay out of it, and anybody can help me. The whole thing was a setup where Michelle's mother has a really bad thing of bragging where the Memorial Day weekend 2019 at the food counter, she screamed it out. They did all this for her daughter. Okay. August 10th or 11th at Walmart 62 in Canton. I walk in through the hair salon. She's in there. I'm walking around Walmart. That they called Will and explained to Will about Michelle. And he set it up. No one ever helped me. Then I got to thinking, he set it up. Then I got to thinking, I called the hotline. I explained everything from how everything played out. I told you I may have left a lot of shit out, but I got a lot out. I got like 80% of it. From explaining the follower and rounding, how later on I connected it to the church, how the Perry police knew he was up to something, how an attempt to break in, that they documented that he was a main subject because he put himself in the middle of it. They knew where the security system was. That guy would have rolled me. He could have killed me. And that there was about Sarah and how Sarah knew Katie, that her manager and her old coworker just went to work with her at Jared's. They were all going out to eat, and they're saying that their church had a plan to kill me, and that I had overheard that phone call where I thought Dave was cheating, and I found out how they were paying for it for that one guy, and that why they were involved. I explained all that. And so I had 2 police reports of attempts on my life, them directly connected, and now 3 witnesses of knowledge that they were going to kill me. Okay? So, and then we'll have an agent call you back. I already had all them nailed. Okay? That's why the FBI even dealt with me. And I told them about the freak showing up saying, what a shame. I told them about the lady impersonating me. That's why I didn't hang up. Thinking it was Dave's girlfriend. Like I said, I got a lot of shit out. It just, so when I told you I went to tell Will about the guy threatening to knife me at Giant Eagle. And he's like, I need a witness. Why would you need a witness? I gave it to the hotline. He had it in the report. Because he didn't want me to tell on Dave. They got to deal with him. Yeah, right. When I told the FBI hotline all that shit, and I had it documented through the police, and then 3 witnesses that they said they were going to kill me. And I disappeared for 3 days because they drugged me up so bad that I couldn't get out of bed. They didn't come looking for me. Yeah, right, they didn't. Yeah, right, they didn't find Dave with a retired judge's daughter. Yeah, right, they didn't find their illegal surveillance. That is conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder and extortion and obstruction to justice. An illegal search and seizure, and you should have arrested them for doing it. It's private property. You don't get quarters watch, people. It's private property. It's illegal to be in somebody's home no matter what, but those special protective life cases recorded with your statement, asking for help, and them agreeing to protect you, and the other person knowing of the threat. And like I said, I never had to stay quiet. The guy showed up at Paymer's the night before. And I told you he was seen in the other side of the duplex. He may just be a next-door neighbor or drug dealer dealing with him. I lived at 4490 John Thomas. The duplex after mine, old lady on my side, a group of men on the other side. He was in the picture window. He may be a neighbor or drug dealer with him. Where, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. Okay? And then he's yelling, what is this about? How dare you bring this up here with that agent coming up here asking about threats on her life? And I walk off, and Dave comes in, let's go. You call the FBI on me? And then starts threatening my life that he's going to take care of me and swinging at me till I'm holding on the door now. I almost jumped out he's doing 60. I literally almost jumped out because he was swinging at me. I got home and I ran from him. Got away from him. Next morning, I wake up with more bruises, and they were on the other side of the duplex. Those men had a copy of my phone, were out mocking me for the notes I kept under me in a crossword puzzle. In case Dave opened it. Anyway, he couldn't figure it out. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, stop, a bank, a Huntington Bank, the lady getting paid to watch me, da-da-da-da-da. And other things that were happening. Yeah. So much was happening at one time. Okay? I never had to stay quiet. It was Dave's girlfriend's family. Paid off some dirty cops to set up cameras. And they were think that I'm stupid enough they could come up to me. We photoshopped a shower scene in the other end. We used sodium pentothal on you. That's why you had bruises. Well, it was really date rape, drugs, ecstasy, so you were sleepwalking. We told you to say stupid stuff. We're going to put you in jail. We'll have one of our dirty cops show up and act like they arrested you and take you off somewhere and kill you. Like you're stupid enough to go with you. Go with them. You got charges. You never talk to anybody. I'm not stupid. It's made up. It's fraud for these people to fall for. It's an extortion ring. A murder ring. They told Dave March 1st to 15 and 19, 8 to 10:30 at night. See, Will actually, to cover his ass, opened a state case, had my recorded statement, asked for help. He said he would protect me, and then he had that cop go to Dave, the one that was at Liberty House Share CSC Bank, Dr. Rapika's office, where that lady at domestic violence yelled at him. Well, like I said, March 1st to 15 and 19, they called and told him it's just a real life case of how to get away with murder. It's just murdering people in line in front of people. But yeah, he even told people the worst thing I ever did wrong was bend over improperly. He even mentioned Will. He told everybody I was an informant, and they were my security. I never had to stay quiet. It was Dave's girlfriend and their dirty cop friends with some drug dealers. They already knew. And so the next day where I called Dixie, tell her to stay out of it, and somebody breaks in my house and they hear us crying over the threat of my life. That's not what's going on here, everybody. I call my sister. And my sister's like, you call the FBI on those churches. Is like, Pam, they're crazy. One is already told on me. And they got a copy of my phone. They're making fun of me. Right? And she's like, what? And I said, Pam, I have to get a prepaid phone call. You at work. It's this crazy. And she's like, what? And I said, Pam, never mind. Stay out of this. I'm a big girl. I got this. I told her last year in June of 21, I said, I did call the FBI on Dave and the churches. When did you do that? I said, 2018. She's like, I didn't realize it. She didn't. She didn't understand. She did. So where I went to the FBI building, you know how stupid they are on the Hills and Dales Road? They're out there talking about the case in the hallway in a blocked building. You called your sister. That's why nobody helped you. Did I ever have to stay quiet? No. I go in the office, they act like they didn't know Will's case. And it's like talk to the people in the hallway. Did I ever have to stay quiet with it being Dave's girlfriend? Family stalking me? Mm-mm. And yeah, no. I never had to stay quiet. They kept me drugged up till they could come up with that stunt for Dave to confront me. And then they corrupted Will and paid him off like her mother said. He understood about Michelle. Do you realize, like my one friend from the prosecutor's office, they could get Dave for conspiracy for telling my grandson, enjoy grandma now, you won't have her after Christmas. He could have got him within 10 days for recording him that Dixie and the baby would be next. Conspiracy to kill him. And then attempts on their life. Had a plan to kill him. And then there was attempts. Mm-hmm. And these people can go to jail for conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder, conspiracy for extortion, fraud, because their so-called made-up case to watch me is fraud. There's no such thing as a case to watch somebody. Not even if somebody lies on you. The only thing legal is to knock on somebody's door with their Miranda rights, and they still don't have to talk to you. They think they have enough evidence. They can take it to the prosecutor. They'll subpoena you with an attorney. You can't afford one. You still don't have to talk to them. They can take it in front of a judge, where a judge with your attorney can weigh it out with the prosecutor, see if it's even admissible. You still don't have to talk to them. Right to remain silent, and then they'll decide if they're going to put charges on you, and then you get subpoenaed to a court trial, and then you still don't have to talk to them because you have a right to remain quiet with your attorney, and then you find out if the charges even stick, because it's actually the United States of America. I think the only time you have to actually talk to somebody is in a grand jury. It's fraud. It's fraud. They told Dave, March 1st to 15 and 19, it is just a real life case of how to get away with murder. It's murdering people in front of them and people laughing at them. See, my unique case will open a state case. Put me in police protected custody to cover his tracks that he took a pic of. Had a cop talk to Dave. And the state leaves it open because they haven't caught the guys carrying around the house. I'll tell you what, that was September 27th, 18. You know how fast everything fell apart? That girl impersonated me at that to get that job September 17th of 18. The guy threatened to knife me on the 21st of 18. David held me down within a few days, telling me how he hired that guy to kill me. Okay, and shoot me if he ran. I overheard that phone call, how the churches were involved. The What a Shame guy showed up. Sarah told me how all three of them had heard how the church was going to help pay, how the church is, the church had a plan to kill me. And I had to call the FBI. And then I was so drugged up I couldn't get out of bed. And I had talked to Will by September 27th, 18. By September 28th, 18, that cop showed up and said he talked to Dave. The 29th, I got my wood burner put in of 18. Josh shows up to see it. And I'll tell you what, where that they had impersonated him. That guy's had a copy of my phone. I walked Josh out by the boat. I said, where everybody knew they were threatening my life, I'm like, if something actually happens to me, call the police. Because everybody knew they were threatening my life. Will never intended in helping me. It was a setup. It was a setup. And so, yeah. Where they're making excuses, they didn't help me. Yeah, right. When I disappeared for 3 days after I talked to the hotline because I was so drugged up I couldn't get out of bed. Yeah, right, they didn't come looking out for me. I had 2 police reports. Dave's the main subject, Perry Township, of attempt to break in. Followed and running it. They knew the guy was up to something, and I could link it right back through a Facebook account to that church. And I couldn't. figure out why would she be involved. And then I found out through later on that it was that minister's great niece's Facebook friend. Then I found out that church had a hit on my life and 3 witnesses saying they were going to kill me. And I overheard that phone call, how they took up the money for him. And they documented that guy was up to something. He was going to, and that he would have rolled me. Okay? So I had 3 witnesses of them saying their church was going to kill me. 2 police reports of attempt on my life. That's why the FBI dealt with me. Okay? And then all of a sudden I disappear. Yeah, right, they didn't come looking for me. Yeah, right, they didn't run out to that mall and talk to those 3 women. Yeah, right. Will didn't want me to tell on Dave. That's why I kept interrupting. He had already cut a deal. Some guy in the mall called him a paid-off dirty agent. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. They didn't come up there and find their dirty illegal surveillance for Michelle. And the retired judge and the dirty cops in the area are breaking in private homes. Private homes, stalking them to extort money. And it's an extortion group and a murder group and a drug group. Yeah, right, they didn't find out. Yeah, right. And didn't find, and yeah, because that's what's going on. Yeah, right, they didn't find out. Because if you would have told a good agent, oh, we broke in the homes of the halls for retired Judge Pete's daughter. We got a coroner. There's no such thing. Where's the special protective life case in the state with the recorded statements? Because if I can't find it and I can't hear the recording, you're in jail. You're doing it to extort money out of these people. What officers are involved in this extortion ring? And no, I won't look at your shit because you broke in on purpose. It's fraud. Now you tell me who's all involved in this. Because that's what should have happened. You can't break in private property. Now, you can't break in private property and stalk somebody. Because then you don't have to worry about March 24th, 22. You framed her before? Yeah, we framed her before. May 12th, 22, Bubba's Restaurant. We found a tape of those boys admitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26th, 22, the attorney did it on purpose to make her look like she was weird with herself putting a shower scene in the other room. At a Oakland apartment, December 9, 21, all the tapes before were them and not hers, just a bunch of men doing crimes down here. December 9, 21, white man, bald, with dark eyes, distributing food in the back of Stark County Hunger Task Force, 9th Street in Canton. We always knew the tapes before were them, not her, so we never sent a word. Because they knew it was fraud. Just like my one client on Shepler Church Road, her neighbor, they told her that all the tapes before were them and not me. And she told the Canton police too. And that was Judge Pete photoshopping everything. They got a really good computer guy. They could hack your Facebook account, your Messenger's account. They can get into your security system, race people out walking towards your house. They can set up cameras and watch you. They can Photoshop you in another room. They're not funny. And then they have these idiots fall for their shit, and they're fraud. It's 100% fraud. And then when people like they said, people yesterday, we realized none of this is funny. They lied to us. They had a court order to watch. How could you be that stupid? You know you have a right to privacy. Police can't come in your home and just stalk you. Huh? This is the United States of America. It's like, how stupid are these people? The right to remain quiet, the Fifth Amendment, keep them out. The right to privacy keeps them out. The right to a legal representation keeps them out. The right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond would keep them out. It's an extortion ring. A murder, drugs, kidnapping. If they actually would tell a real cop, we have a court order watching report. If they can't look it up in the special protective line cases recorded with my statement asking them for help and them saying they'll help me and Dave's recorded statement, of knowledge of my threat of my life, they go to jail. See, that's one thing. We'll play both sides. Have you talked to any police or any other agency on the threat of your life? No. Only the FBI. You recorded that part. See, that Hillsdale FBI, they act like they got their head up their ass. They act like they didn't know Will's case. They're talking about in the hallway. You called your sister. Don't make excuses. She didn't understand, and I never had to stay quiet. It was Dave's girlfriend's family keeping me drugged up. Photoshop in the shower scene, drugging me up and with date rape drugs, and then telling me to say something stupid. So I'm walking around high, not knowing what I'm doing. Like they did, somebody did Mike in the bar, and he told everybody he's an astronaut, took himself out to a bank, took himself out to eat, and didn't know how he got out of the bar. Date rape drugs aren't funny, and why do they do it to Mike? See what I mean? Came up to me and said, I got a problem. I don't know how I got home. Why do they do it to him? See what I mean? But they were breaking my house and doing it. It's not funny. None of this is funny. You're walking around sleepwalking. And because if a regular cop cannot look it up, they will put you in jail. It's fraud. It's extortion. Stalking. That's why the Massillon police were laughing at this. They're looking for that Steve and Eric for stalking. Now they're saying that Steve was breaking it, where I had those weird dreams, waking up in a foggy haze of a man walking across my room, laying down next to me, holding me in his arms, rolling toward him. And his face is so blurry I couldn't see him, and I felt safe for a moment. The room would go black. It was him raping me. I had already been with Dave, so I wouldn't even know. That freak was date rape drugging me and then raping me, and where I woke up with big bruises and hand marks, they said they were beating confessions out before. Sick bastards. And these people make fun of me for this. I have never even been questioned of wrongdoing. I've never been prosecuted, and I never found guilty. See, only thing police can do is gather information, take it to the prosecutor's office. The prosecutor's office can subpoena you with your attorney. If you can't afford one, one will be appointed to you. They'll take it to, you don't have to talk to anybody. Take it to a judge, in front of the judge, with your attorney. Wait out and see if it's admissible. Still don't have to talk to me. You have a right to remain quiet. Right? And to see if it's even admissible to get charges on a sitting judge. Nothing ever happened. They made it all up. It's all fraud. And then you go in front of a trial. Judge and jury. If you even sticks. For the any kind of charges to sit, you still don't have to talk to me. You have a right to not incriminate yourself. Like I said, the only time you actually have to talk to somebody, I looked it up, I think is a grand jury. Nothing else. You have the right not to incriminate yourself. This whole thing is nothing but fraud. And conspiracy to cover up premeditated murder, conspiracy to cover up extortion, obstruction to justice, framing. And they admitted to framing me, admitted to drugging me and telling us to say stuff, admitted it was a shower scene. I have the stupidest criminals around me. But we'll open a state case. And where the other cops have sat back in horror out of their jurisdiction and watched these people hurting me, and they didn't know who it was. With some of the dirty cops participating in it, with some drug dealers hurting me. Retired Judge Pete, they think they're funny. He's retired. Him and his family think they can just pay anybody off. And they sold the state case. They hacked into it and sold the police information. It's not funny. I can go anywhere and they're like, hey, Karen, did you know this? Hey, Karen, did you know that? Hey, Karen, this. Hey, Karen, that. There's not even an accusation against me. Where Dave said I had men around me. I had police and investigators chasing off stalkers they hired. Okay? Documenting everything. Okay? And that's where one of the protective life guys said Karen even interviewed her family for the police to hear it and document it. I did. Because where I can go talk to somebody where they won't talk to the police, they'll talk to me, informant. Where that one drug dealer said she sucks as a informant, I'm a little old lady, I rock. Like one young girl, Karen, had to work her own case. And where my grandchildren liked the fat, ugly girl and wanted to make up mean games of friend, they all got caught lying in 2018. For of course, and then what happened? For of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. Mean games of pretend. This fucking shit my family should be ashamed of. Mean jokes. And going on Thanksgiving 18 and found their mother telling them a lie. Be like the protective life guys. Her family should be ashamed of their stuff. I'm laying my life down to save him where Dave said he was going to kill them all. That is even conspiracy. Will could arrested Dave in 10 days for Dixie and the baby are next. Conspiracy to kill them. He had him. He had him. And the stalkers were already showing up. He had him. And he left me out there to die. There's no damn excuse. No damn excuse. And you can't tell me they didn't come looking for me. They didn't find their dirty little cameras. They didn't find out the local police. Some of them were helping out in extortion and fraud for their own personal gain and for a retired judge's daughter. You can't tell me they didn't find me all drugged up in bed and knew that they were photoshopping shower scenes to extort money. You can't tell me they didn't know where they were date rape drugging me and tell me say something stupid and altering scenes. It's FBI. Huh? I got to deal with one. See, the main cop was out at Rebecca's office right before Christmas of 18 and more. Pull in and I could see those cops through the window. Lady from domestic violence came in and went in their lunchroom who yells at an angry giant but a mother. Someone who loves someone more than herself. She shows up by March of 19. Her and her group were watching me for a long time. With a brown hair, bearded guy. Okay? She's like, she's amazing. I'd like her to speak when this is over. He said she is amazing and I could write a bestseller on what happened. I would call it Karen's Prayers. A paid-off dirty agent. A man trying to kill his wife. And men being shot at running. It would be a bestseller. Join people by walking. They got real terrorism. And watch it. Like a reality show. Not really.